All right, so let's talk about our pop-up. This video is designed predominantly for beginner and intermediate surfers with the goal of improving the pop-up so that it's no longer a constraint for our surfing progression. We'll start by looking at a few waves from some professional surfers so that we can glean some information off of their technique that we can apply to ourselves. And then at the end, I'll take you through the exercise that I use at home to improve my pop-up so that when I get into the water, the program is already there. The muscle memory is there, and all I have to do is paddle in and then the pop-up takes care of itself. So we do the training out of the water so that when we're in the water, we don't have to think about it, it just happens. And we've already addressed the strength and flexibility issues that are associated with the pop-up and what can constrain our pop-up. So let's begin with Rob Machado. Now I chose this clip because in this one specifically, he uses a two-stage pop-up that you'll see here. 1, 2, just like that. Now we're going to break this down and analyze it so that you guys can understand what's going on and so that you can apply it to your own surfing as well, especially for you beginner surfers or you older surfers who are still using a two-stage pop-up or who need to use a two-stage pop-up. This one's going to give you a lot of insight in how to do it really, really well. Okay. So Rob's already paddled in, the wave has picked him up, he's had his chin down to glide in, and now he's beginning the process of taking a line. You'll notice straight away that his board is not facing directly down. As he's pushing up, he is starting to take a line obliquely, and you see it even more there. You see how his board is now facing this way as opposed to facing down this way. So that's the first lesson you can take, is that once the wave picks you up, when you paddle into the wave, you paddle straight. As the wave picks you up, you start to take an angle, and you don't have to stand up before taking the angle. This position here is a wonderful way to stand up and take an angle because you can easily load the rail for the side that you want to go down. In this case, it's his left side. So he pushes up and he looks down the line. When he's ready, he lifts the hips and he places the back leg. And he keeps his chest over the top of his hands. Now he does that because it's keeping weight on the nose of the board, which is continuing to bring it down the wave. Okay, so that's for maintaining his speed. If he was to load his leg and take the weight off his hands, it would cause the board to stall, and he may end up missing this section here. So chest over the hands to keep weight on the nose. Now as he continues, he brings the second leg through, the knee almost touches the chest, the foot goes down in between the hands, and then the hands come off. But he keeps his hips low. He does not stand bolt upright. And as the wave continues, you'll see he uses his extension as an accelerator. Compresses again, extends again. Look at that. The board comes all the way out of the water from the strength of his extension. So let's watch that again, and you'll see it's in slow-mo, but you'll see the two-stage. 1, 2. Stays low, ready to go. And off he goes. Now this clip I chose because it shows really well. This is Rob here. It shows his paddle in and his glide. His pop-up is beautiful, but it's way too late for something that you would want to do at your stage. But let's have a look. Chin down as he paddles in. As the wave picks him up, hands under the chest, and he glides. Now, I'm going to pause it here. I would suggest that for most beginner and intermediate surfers, this is the position on the wave where you want to perform your pop-up. Rob waits until really late stage, but he's also able to turn that board on a dime and get back to the power in no time. I probably couldn't do what Rob does on this wave, and you probably can't either. So we will watch his pop-up, but in this instance, the most important thing to take note of was the chin down for the paddle in, and then he took a line with his chest up, looking back to make sure nobody was coming, and then he performs his pop-up. And there it is. Now, he pulls a tight turn and comes all the way back to the power source here, which is not an easy thing to do, but nonetheless, we can still learn from his paddle in, chin down, so relaxed. Takes a line, super relaxed, and then there would be a great spot to pop up. So I chose this next wave because it's a nice close-up and we get a really good view of Rob's paddle in, his positioning, his glide, and then his pop-up. But also I chose it because it's on the type of wave or the size of wave that you're going to come across really frequently in your beginner to early intermediate stage, just like a waist to chest high wave. So let's watch him perform it. Paddle in, chin down to tip the nose. There it is. Push up, check down the line and back. Fluid pop up, stays crouched. Okay, let's go back and rerun it. So he paddles in nice and easy. When he goes a little bit harder right there, he brings the chin down. You see that? And he kicks his legs a little bit. So that's his acceleration phase right at the end. The last 2, 3, maybe 4 strokes before getting in. The chin comes down, the paddles get harder, and he kicks his legs on this occasion. Now, he will glide. Hands will come under the chest as the wave picks up, and he'll glide. He'll check both directions. Right? Now we see his pop-up begin from here. So he keeps his chest up. He lifts his hips and he places his back leg, front leg. You see that? You see how close his knee came to his chin? The front foot goes in between his feet. And of probably the most importance out of this, he will keep his hips low. See how low the hips stay. Now, his knee, even though his hips are this low, his knee is not on the board. He's up on his feet. He's looking down the line where he wants to go, and he is staying compressed so that when it's time to explode, he's got all of that energy from his compressed legs to extend up, create weightlessness, and project himself to the top of the wave. And there's the extension. You see? So we can learn a lot from this one, because as he paddles in, he hits the accelerator right there. Hands come under, he's not rushed. Pop-up is smooth, stays compressed, and then extends when it's time to project up the wave. This next wave I'm going to show you is a much steeper wave, and so I wanted to include this one because not every wave that we surf is going to be as soft and slopey the way that the last couple were. And so I really want to go over the way that Rob takes the pop-up on a steeper wave. Okay, so we don't get to see the paddle in for this one. So he's already done the paddle and he's beginning to glide. Now, what you'll see here, if his board was facing down the wave, you see how he's taking this angle as he pushes up. If his board was facing down the wave, he would have a much harder time performing his pop-up going in this direction. And so just with all of his other waves, he takes his line as he extends the chest up. Now, the timing on a steep wave like this for the pop-up, as the wave stands up and begins to pitch, the water falls away from the nose of the board. Now, for you beginner and intermediate surfers out there, you've experienced this. You've been slow with your pop-up, you've shot down the wave, and you've either nosedived and gone over the handlebars and been thoroughly washed, or you push yourself right back to the back of the board, you keep the nose up in the air, and then you just scoot out and get washed by the white water. And so remembering back to those experiences, when you feel that moment where you think, oh shit, I'm about to get thrown over the handlebars, that's actually the perfect time to pop up as that water falls away. So we'll watch Rob do it here. He pushes the chest up and then he moves immediately into the pop-up. You see how he had very little glide, like the wave was moving much faster than the last few. And so the chest comes up and then the hips come up immediately after that. He places one leg, two leg. Yeah? It's always rear leg, front leg. The knee is always close to the chest. The hips always stay down. The hands are on either side, like over the top of each rail. And then from here, he is ready to take an angle and then extend and project up to the top of the wave again, to drop back in again and continue to surf the wave. So this one's beneficial because the wave shape is different to the last couple that we've seen. So let's watch it again. He's already paddled in. Short glide, smooth pop-up, stays compressed, and then extends, ready to go. So we're going to change things up and watch Kelly Slater, the bald-headed goat, take a wave in his own pool. Now, the Kelly Slater wave pool is notoriously fast, and so everything needs to be done a great deal faster, and this clip has been slowed down so that you can see what's happening very, very clearly. So you'll see how hard he's paddling in, chin is down while he's kicking. Now, he places the hands deep under his chest, and it even looks like they're staggered just a little bit, with the right hand being slightly further back. Now, as you'll notice on this one, just like in Rob Machado's clips, the chest is up and he moves almost immediately into the pop-up. As he lifts the hips, the back foot comes down first. So you'll see the back foot lands right there. The front knee comes up, nearly touches the chest, places it between the hands, and then the hands lift off. He stays compressed, and then he extends to project up the wave. So again, let's watch that again in slow-mo. Paddles hard with the chin down to tip in. Hands go deep under the chest, hips up, back foot, front foot stay compressed, and then extend to project up the wave. All right, guys, so let's go over the exercise that I use at home and I would recommend for you for training your pop-up. Essentially, we're going to do the entire movement, and we're going to do it in a way that emphasizes the technique rather than emphasizing the speed, okay, or emphasizing the end position. So we do this in order to both instill the motor pattern, but also to increase the strength. You'll see why it's quite a difficult exercise, but it's going to make popping up in the water light work by comparison, okay? And we want that. We want our strength capacity to exceed what is required for popping up in the ocean, because in the ocean, you're a bit frantic, it's a bit chaotic, it's far less stable. And so if your strength requirement for a pop-up is here, but the strength that you've created is up here, then that gap there gives you a lot of leeway. And it helps to account for things like the imbalances while you're in the ocean, the stress, the chaos, the whole lot. But it's going to significantly improve your pop-ups just with one exercise. All you need is just a piece of floor, one that's large enough for you to lay down on. I would recommend doing it on a hard surface, okay? You can do it on carpet, but because our knees are gonna drag along the floor for a short period of time, doing it on carpet increases the friction and actually makes the exercise harder. So timber floors, tiled floors, even polished concrete would be fine. But if you've got nothing but carpet, then do it on carpet. It's just going to make you that little bit stronger, or maybe you can't do as many reps. And I want you to focus on doing it slowly. Okay, this exercise, there is no point in doing it quickly or trying to replicate the speed of doing it in the water. That is not the point. The point is to develop the motor pattern and the strength and the precision of a really good pop-up. Okay, so let's move into it. You're going to position yourself laying stomach down on the floor. Perform 2 strokes. Hands under the chest, lift the chest up, looking down the line. Now, pressing through the knees, lift your hips. Place the back foot first, front foot second. You want your hips down and your chest up a little. Ready to move on to the toe side. Here it is again, 2 strokes, hand deep under the chest, chest up. Push through the knees, lift the hips, rear foot, front foot, athletic position, ready to go. Now it's important to note, when I place my back foot, I don't have to place it in the exact position that we're going to use for surfing. To place it on the toe or the ball of the foot is absolutely fine, and then adjust it as the hips come through. Now normally I would do 5 repetitions of this, then I would take a short break, and then I will do 5 repetitions for a backside takeoff, which is the one we're going to look at next. So on the backside, we do the same 2 strokes, hands under the chest, look down the line, weight through the knees, back foot, front foot. Now this is the difference here. We turn and look down the line going backside. We also move the weight to our heels a little bit more because we'll be engaging our heel side rail. So when you do it, practice bringing the weight to your heels a little bit and looking down the line, whether that's to your right or to your left if you're natural or goofy. But it's important to practice the movement both ways, because when we surf, we can surf either a right hand or a left hand wave. And that subtle difference in the pop-up, it helps us to train that in so we don't feel awkward doing a pop-up in one direction. So this is a close-up of the advanced version of the movement where we stagger the hands for the takeoff. It's not mandatory. You don't have to learn it. There are pro surfers who don't do it, personal preference, but if you want to do it, this is how you practice it. 1 stroke, 2 stroke. Now, when we're going right, we want to place the left hand slightly further forward than the right hand. Check down the line, you can see my hands are staggered. Lift the hips, rear foot, front foot, and we're off.